Okay, let's unpack this. We're seeing one of the fastest um, enterprise tech shifts ever.
It's incredible.
One day, your team is just using the standard tools, and then boom, the next. A powerful new generative AI, so let's just use Copilot as the example,
Because that's the one everyone's talking about.
is suddenly available across the entire organization. And the promise is massive, right? Instant productivity, automated tasks, basically a shortcut to being smarter.
It really sounds like a dream. But the reality and what our sources are digging into is, well, it's a lot more complex.
Right.
Most companies think the heavy lifting is the procurement, the licensing, and then just flipping that switch.
Yeah, the activation.
But what the source material makes crystal clear is that turning on an AI without preparation is probably the fastest way to frustration and to security breaches.
And ultimately just wasted money.
Exactly. Readiness isn't a nice to have. It's the absolute precondition for any kind of success.
I found that distinction so crucial. The sources we have today basically distill this readiness challenge into a definitive blueprint. It's called the Copilot Readiness Guide, 8 fixes before activation.
Think of it like a pre-flight checklist.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's what prevents a really rough landing.
Precisely. And so our mission for this deep dive is to move through these 8 steps. They really define what you need to do to make sure the tool delivers actual value, keeps you secure, and, can scale.
Okay, and for you listening, we're going to organize these 8 fixes into 3 themes to make it a bit easier to follow.
Right. So first we'll talk about the foundation, the technical stuff. Then we'll get into the people side of things.
And we'll finish up with integration and cultural adoption,
Yeah.
how you make it stick.
That's the plan.
Great. That structure helps a lot. We've got a lot to cover, so let's just jump right in with those foundation pieces. The first fix is foundational in every sense of the word, your data foundation. We hear this advice all the time, but with AI in the mix, it stops being just, generic advice. It becomes a hard requirement. The AI is only as good as the information it can safely access.
That is the core principle. The guide is really insistent that before you even think about activation, you have to do some aggressive digital spring cleaning.
So cleaning up content, getting rid of duplicates, organizing files, all that stuff we put off.
All of it, because here's the challenge. The AI doesn't fix your sloppy habits. It amplifies them.
Okay, give me a specific example of that amplification.
No.
Why is it worse than just a human searching through a messy folder?
Well, a human will eventually filter things. They'll use critical thinking and say, okay, this looks like the final version. The AI, it doesn't always distinguish.
Yeah.
So if your knowledge base has, say, 6 different versions of the Q3 expense policy.
Some marked draft, some final revised.
Exactly. The AI won't know which one is the single source of truth. It'll try to synthesize all of them.
And you end up with a Frankenstein policy document.
You get a Frankenstein policy, it merges conflicting rules, or it just picks the wrong one, and suddenly it's generating answers that are totally contradictory.
Which causes friction, wastes time, and...
It erodes trust in the new tool on day one. You have to clean your digital house before you hire a super efficient maid. It's that simple.
Okay, so the ground is clean. But clean data is useless if you don't know what you're aiming at. Which brings us to fix number 2. Workflow clarity.
Yes, defining the use case. This is absolutely critical.
Because the temptation is just to throw it out there and see what people do with it.
And it's a huge temptation. These tools are so intuitive, but the guide warns that that approach just leads to random usage and patchy adoption.
I hear that. But couldn't you argue that defining everything up front kind of kills creativity? What about letting employees find cool, unforeseen uses for it?
Oh, it's not about limiting exploration. It's about guiding the initial investment toward things with proven high ROI. You need some guardrails. The sources really emphasize defining the exact workflows you want to improve. Think about the most painful, time-sucking parts of someone's job.
Like what? What's a good example?
Drafting standardized legal documents, or summarizing huge regulatory texts, or maybe generating those first-line customer service responses.
Or quarterly financial reports.
Yes, synthesizing data from multiple systems for those reports. The organization has to commit to improving those specific things.
So the AI becomes a tool for a defined purpose, not just a smarter search bar.
Exactly. If you don't define the goal, you can't measure the success.
Okay, so we've got clean data and a clear purpose. Fix number 3 pivots us to risk, to security, Permissions and access.
And this might be the most critical takeaway, especially for executives. Security is not just the firewall anymore.
What do you mean?
When you activate a tool like this, you're essentially giving every user a super fast search engine that uses their personal security permissions. This massively increases the risk of something called permissions drift.
Let's define permissions drift for everyone listening. What does that actually look like?
It's what happens over years. An employee switches teams, they change roles, but their access to the old project folders, the old HR directories, it's never revoked.
They just accumulate access they don't need.
Right. They have overly broad access. Now, a human searching for a file might not even remember they have access to, say, the CEO's salary folder.
But the AI does.
The AI finds it instantly. So if that user asks the AI to summarize departmental performance and they happen to have accidental access to sensitive files,
The AI could just pull that data in.
it can and it will. It'll surface that sensitive content to the wrong person because it's just following the user's permissions. The guide is explicit here. You must clean up your access rules before you press start. It is a massive risk multiplier if you don't.
That's a powerful warning. So that's the technical foundation.
Yeah.
Clean data, clear process, and watertight security. Now we can shift to the human side of this.
Which brings us to our second theme. The human element and getting some consistency. This starts with fix number 4. Training by role, not department.
This was my aha moment in the guide.
Yeah.
Because the standard approach, the generic training session for everyone, it just doesn't work.
It's a known failure point for enterprise software. And with AI, it's even worse because the tools are so contextual.
If you just train everyone on ask a good question.
The legal team won't see the value, and the finance team will feel like they just wasted an hour of their day.
So the training has to be surgical. How do the sources say to tailor it?
They say focus on specific roles and tasks that deliver immediate measurable value.
Okay.
So for the legal department, the training shouldn't be about drafting an email. It should be about using the AI to cross-reference jurisdictional codes or compare contract language against your templates.
Things that are core to their job.
Exactly. Things they do every day. If the sales team learns how to instantly draft a complex proposal based on a customer's CRM history, they're going to adopt it immediately.
Because they see the direct benefit to their own work.
Absolutely. The faster they see that benefit, the higher the adoption. Otherwise, the training just feels like theoretical overhead, and the tool becomes shelfware.
That makes perfect sense. And that efficiency goal leads right into fix number 5, prompt standards. If we're training people on special tasks, we need some governance over the conversation itself.
You can't leave it up to individual talent when you have thousands of people using a tool. It has to be systematized. The guide calls for creating simple, accessible internal guidance.
Not a dense policy document nobody will read.
No, practical advice.
So what are the non-negotiables for that guidance? What has to be in there?
Well, it needs to cover the basics of how to structure a good prompt. But more importantly, it has to cover what sensitive information to avoid putting in, and critically, how users should validate the outputs.
The validation step, that's
Yeah.
key. Because the AI doesn't just retrieve facts, it generates them.
And an output can sound so authoritative, so flawless, but be completely wrong, or based on that old data we talked about in Fix 1. Right. If every team has a different standard for checking the AI's work, you have no quality control. Standardized guidance on validation like, always cross-reference 3 internal sources before finalizing a budget summary. That ensures safety and quality.
It instills that healthy skepticism to not just blindly trust the machine.
Yes. And if that validation step fails, or if the outputs are just consistently bad for a certain task, you need fix number 6, feedback loops.
The mechanism for continuous improvement.
It's so easy to just roll out a tool and then walk away, assuming it's a success. It's much harder to maintain that momentum.
If you don't give people an outlet when things go wrong, they'll just stop using it.
The system grinds to a halt. And the source material is very specific about how to structure this feedback.
It's not just a general comments box then.
No. It has to be actionable. The feedback should be structured around 3 categories.
Okay, what are they?
Users need a clear way to report. 1, what is working exceptionally well.
So you can replicate successes.
2, what is failing or causing errors.
So you can fix it.
And 3, what needs improvement or additional features. This structured loop ensures the rollout adapts and improves quickly instead of just drifting until an annual review.
That takes us neatly into the final 2 fixes, which are all about the bigger picture, integration and cultural adoption. So, fix 7, integration with business apps.
This one's critical for showing real utility. I mean, think of it this way. You just bought a powerful new refrigerator.
Okay.
It's beautiful, it's efficient, but if you never plug it into the wall, it's just a big, expensive metal cabinet.
It's shelfware. The AI has to be connected to the plumbing of the enterprise.
It does. If
Okay.
the AI can only summarize documents in one isolated cloud folder, its utility is tiny. The sources insist it has to be connected to the tools people live in every single day.
We're talking way beyond just email and Word here. You mean the core systems.
The ticketing systems, the CRM, the HR platforms, all the knowledge bases.
And if you don't connect those,
The AI stays isolated. It becomes a toy that can do parlor tricks but can't support actual business processes.
let's use that support agent example again.
Perfect. When they open a ticket, they need the AI to instantly pull the last 3 relevant articles, the customer's purchase history from the CRM, and the return policy from the HR system, all to draft one accurate contextual response.
If it can't pull that context automatically, if they have to manually feed it information,
It's actually slower than them just doing the work themselves. Integration is what prevents the AI from becoming just another silo.
and that successful integration sets up the final fix, number 8, which is all about culture, leadership modeling.
This is arguably the hardest one. You can't just mandate culture.
Right, you can clean the data, define the process, write the guidance. But if the senior staff don't actually use it themselves, the organization won't take it seriously.
It feels optional. That's the key distinction. The guide says leaders can't just encourage AI use. They have to actively use it themselves. And this is crucial. Share examples of their success.
So if a department head uses it to synthesize data for a board report, they need to actually say, I got to the strategic insights faster because Copilot did the heavy lifting on the data synthesis.
Yes, exactly that. That's the mechanism that makes adoption cultural, not just an IT project.
Yeah.
When leaders model the right behaviors, caution, rigor and validation, practical application, it gives everyone else the confidence to do the same.
It provides those visible, practical wins.
And that's what makes using the AI the default, efficient way to operate.
That really ties everything together. So, to recap the 8 fixes, we went from the foundational data and security checks
Fixes 1, 2, and 3.
through defining workflows and training people by their actual role,
That's 4, 5, and 6.
and finally integrating the tool and getting leadership to truly model its use, 7 and 8.
That's the whole picture. The central theme from the sources is that this preparation is what turns the activation from a huge risk into a genuine benefit. It makes the system useful, secure, and scalable from day one, not 2 years down the line after bad habits have set in. So if we had to boil it all down for you, the big lesson is, well, it's that the prep work is only partly technical.
Right, it's not just about the data and the permissions.
Exactly. I mean, yes, you absolutely need that. But where you'll really see success, what determines the ROI, is defining the process. That's fix number 2, the workflow clarity.
And managing the change.
And managing the change.
Yeah.
The leadership modeling we just talked about, those are the human pieces that, actually make or break the whole thing.
That distinction between technical and cultural prep is so powerful. And if we circle back to fix 7 for a second, the need for deep integration with business apps to support real work, it leaves us with one last kind of provocative thought to mull over.
The challenge of integration.
Exactly. If successful AI relies on this seamless connectivity, what overlooked legacy system, the one that holds all the critical proprietary knowledge that nobody wants to touch,
Every company has one.
what if that's the hardest yet most necessary system to connect to this new AI? And what does that really mean for the AI's day one functionality if you can't get that connection right?
That's the crucial technical debt we have to confront before the AI can be fully functional.
A great challenge to leave you with. Thanks for bringing us these sources today and letting us take this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.